Well, hello. As you probably heard from either a few minutes ago or the end of my last video, I want to do a little extra video based upon me playing around with some of the earlier puzzles and trying to improve them. Now, some of these came from not looking at solutions to these puzzles online. I don't like doing that. But just mechanisms and solutions that other people came up with other puzzles in the series. Okay, so I haven't actually looked up the answer to this, but I had some inspiration from what I'd seen other people doing. So this is all the way back to optical sensor array type 4, which was a system. This is my original solution, I think. Yeah, I think it is. Where you're going to make this thing here, and it uses these fixed in place stamping machines to mark the outside of this block here. Now, what you start out with these individual blocks. So however long ago I did this, at least a year, maybe 2 years ago, when I originally did this, I had this idea about, okay, I've got to split it. I know I can weld 3 things together, and I've got to split off every time I get 3, and I weld them together. I send the next 2 off on a separate side path, which you can see here's the welding 3 together. Hold on. So something along the line, I've got something where I'm using a sensor to push these off the side, and something happens to them and they get welded on the side to make a cross shape. Okay, and this complicated system of like, oh, there we go, look, I stamp those ones, I flip them around, I introduced these ones. I actually did I use all them? Oh, what a complicated solution I've made here. And the last one comes into here. Now, it wasn't pretty, but it worked. It gave me the answer I needed. Then I came up with solution 2 much more recently. So you can see this one here is quite a bit better, you know, less blocks, less cycle, and all the rest of it. And what I was using here was, if you remember, a while back I made a video on AND gates because I found it was necessary for one of my solutions, and I had trouble making them, and I worked out how to make them myself, and I also looked up how other people were making them, and that's where I discovered messing around with physics in the game. And essentially, when you first start out and you go from this point here where you're constructing to starting, watch these blocks here, some of them fall, they have gravity effects to them and they fall down when you start them. Okay, I did this in my last solution, the one with the blowout level, whatever it was, where I dropped down a piston with a couple of blocks joined to it, and I did it because otherwise the blocks would have clashed with each other and interacted badly. So here I've done something similar. I've got these blocks falling down here, and the whole purpose of this is a slight refinement of what I was making before. Essentially, I was making the cross shape. Yeah. And what I was doing, I made a slightly different alternative here. I used less of the rotators. Yeah. And I'm a complicated set of welders there to make this cross shape. And then what I was doing here was, when these 2 get stamped on the outside, when this sensor sees this, it moves the piston. The piston moves this rotator out and flips the whole thing around, so it's ready to receive the next pair of stamps on here. And the reason this is floating is because if I built this on the floor, just by doing like piston like that, and then a rotator, this wouldn't work. This is stuck to the floor. This is stuck to the floor. Okay, you have to start them hovering. But once they've started hovering, when they hit the floor, they're not stuck to the floor. So it can do this thing where it moves the conveyor and the rotator together. Now, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. Is it an exploit of the physics in the game, or an intended exploit? When Zachtronics made this game, was he thinking that this is something you could do if you worked it out, or is it just an artifact of how you build them, the level, and then the gravity kicks in when you start it? I don't know. I'm not sure how that's true or not. So I was never quite sure if this was a useful thing to do or not, or it's a fair thing to do. And this is one of the ways that you get the really good scores on the game. Okay, so this was a fairly straightforward one for me. I could imagine this, and I thought, why not take this further? Why not do it over here as well? This is where we get solution 3. So solution 3. significantly better, I think you can see there. You know, as far as the speed from here. And in fact, let's drop the cycle rate here. Back to normal. So now we have floating blocks again. Ooh, down they come. Right. This isn't again. This one I just imagined and then tried to put together on in the game itself, but one that occurred to me at some idle moment in my day. What I imagined was a machine that was very much like a typical factory machine. You know, you want something like How It's Made or programs like that. You know, whatever equivalent on your TV channels. You know, you imagine machines in factories, and the piece that it's being worked upon is being rotated on the spot. Yeah, and pieces are added to it until it's finished, and then it gets chucked away. Yeah, it's a typical sort of machine. I want to make something like that, and that's effectively what I've made here. It's very similar to what I've made on the other one, and this is about the same over here. And a stamping there, and a assembly there, and a stamping over there. Very simple. However, the improvement to this is not only that it works very nicely, but I can't quite put it up to max. Max is too fast, because the blocks are too close to each other, but I can go to the next one down, which is +3 input rate. And I've only got one space between them. It's like a proper machine in a proper factory, isn't it? It's cool. So this is what I made, and this is how I made it. Much better. There's probably this can't be applied to every level, but you can. Look at that go. Got a speed behind it. There you go. So I'm up with there's obviously people done still better than me here. They've obviously made it so good that it works on the really fast rate here. But I'm feeling pretty good that I'm pushing myself towards. Footprint's still bad probably, but there you go. The guys have done the best scores out there. These ones I always wonder about if someone's done something wacky over here, what this is. But there you go. Under 30. Under 30 blocks, I guess, is what is under here. But there you go. Feeling pretty good about that one. So there you go. There's a really fast solution. And I might go back and do some of the others and redo them to see what else I can do with them on here. I was looking at this one as well, and maybe I can improve this. You know, I started to make another one through from there and see if I can make it better. Others I don't know, but it's just interesting to see that I could go back and do that. So there you go. An idle little bit of addition for you. A little extra video that I thought was kind of interesting. And hopefully you'll see more of those sort of solutions, those better solutions, in the future ones. Let me know if you think I'm cheating or not, or if I'm just, using known mechanics of the game, or if you know better that, excuse me, this was always intended or not. But there you go. I'm going to use it because sometimes you kind of have to make some of the methods work reasonably well. Anyway, take care. And hopefully I'll see you again next time.